Alright, what up everybody? Welcome to the franchise mode video now. Packers Lions, let's see if I can redeem myself after a loss on the online play and see if I can get the win here and keep the perfect season going on the franchise mode at least. But yeah, this is gonna be a good battle in real life too, but joining me on this video is as always, what up Excabandai, aka Zach.
Hello.
Ooh, spicy. And this is another Thursday night game. You know, we just had the Thanksgiving dub, and now getting to face the Lions, and I'm a little salty because I'll be driving to the airport during the start of this game. So I'll have to, yeah, I think what I'll end up doing is I'll probably pull up a stream or something on my phone and go to the airport early and just watching the cell lot until my wife gets back with the kiddo.
It's going to be on Amazon, right? So you can pull it up on Twitch.
Yeah, so I'll have to do that. Yeah, going in this one at Ford Field, man, it's hard to believe that this game, despite the Packers being 9-3, it's like a fight to stay alive in the NFC North because, you know, here are the Lions entering at 11-1 with, I think, 10 straight victories, and even the Vikings, as much as I hate it, they're 10-2 right now, so 9-3, third place in the North is absolutely wild, but that's, you know, that's where we are.
I saw a stat the other day that the Packers, Lions, and Vikings are 27-3 against not the Packers, Lions, and Vikings.
Yeah, it's absolutely insanity. Also, does it really have to be Kirby Joseph that picked me off right there?
Yep.
Whatever. Hopefully he doesn't get it this time. Last game was that pick six, and that sucked. But yeah, this is gonna be the second meeting this year, as just kind of talked about. But first time out, the Lions ended up winning 24-14 at Lambeau. Which, yeah, that was back when Jordan Love was still not the healthiest, and weather wasn't great, but no real excuses. Detroit was already the better team going into that, so that put the old-time series lead. Still Green Bay leading 104-77-7 with that's a regular season, and then Green Bay's also got 2 playoff victories in the series. But you know, earlier today when we were getting ready for this, the kind of injury report estimations, whatever, came out. So unfortunately, 4 of them are ruled out for the Packers. Jair Alexander's still out with the knee injury. Romeo Doubs hasn't cleared concussion protocol. And then, you know, Cooper's still out with a hamstring injury, and Ballantyne's out with a knee injury, but nobody else is carrying a game status going into this one. And then the Lions also got 4 ruled out, including Taylor Decker, who's missing his 2nd consecutive game. He has the knee injury, and then DJ Reader's one of the 3 defensive linemen that were being ruled out. But, you know, saying all that, that's also not, you know, counting guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, who tore his ACL against the Bears, so he's out. I think they got Quan Alexander from what I saw off the Broncos practice squad. And I want to say their defensive tackle, Wingo, he ended up being out with a knee injury for the season as well against the Bears. So I saw somebody on Reddit, which I didn't verify, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt, I guess, but they had mentioned that there was like 11 Lions players to suffer a season-ending injury this year, with another 2 that were already on IR. So if that's actually the case, that's absolutely wild. But I know ESPN, whenever you look up the injury like stuff on the depth charts, it's like a sea of red for Detroit's players with all the injury statuses and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. But I still think Detroit's probably the best team in the league right now, even though the last couple weeks have been a little bit less dominant than it had been at the start. But I don't know. How do you think Green Bay's going to do against the Lions this week? We'll almost start out kind of in prediction mode, apparently.
Yeah, we're starting at the end, at the beginning, apparently. Well, if we're gonna start with a prediction, if that didn't work.
Slowest end around in history.
If the Packers play a complete game, kind of like they did against Miami. You essentially like take the first half of the Miami game and the second half of the 49ers game. If they can do anything close to that, I think that they have a very good chance of winning because of Detroit's injuries. But Detroit's offense is not unscathed, but their offense is mostly still intact. All of their dangerous skill players are still available. Laporta's getting more healthy as the season goes on, and they match up well against our defense, just like the Dolphins did. They'll be playing at home, so dome conditions. We're not going to have cold weather or rainy, weather like the last game against them. So they're going to have to go out and they're going to have to play a complete game. I believe that they can do it. We have shown that we play better in the dome conditions. But we're gonna have to play clean. Limit the penalties, not drop passes. Swarm the ball in defense, and we're probably gonna need 1 to 2 turnovers.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, obviously playing clean's always going to be one of the key to victories and stuff too. But especially like with Jordan Love, most of the start of the season up until the San Francisco game, it was like you were guaranteeing 1 interception a game, and then it was just a battle to try to overcome that each week and get more turnovers on defense or whatever. But he's played clean the last 2 weeks. A couple turnover worthy throws against San Francisco, but ultimately, they're looking all right. So hopefully,
the Dolphins game was definitely his best start.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, that and the Arizona game too. Even though he threw the pick, because that wasn't his fault necessarily on the slip by the receiver, but I think he ended up throwing an interception on 0 turnover worthy plays at that stat or something like that. Which, either way, beside the point. Like,
it still wasn't his best game, even if you don't count that against him.
Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, like, if you let Josh Jacobs continue to pound the rock, I think, like, we'll be in pretty good shape overall. Can I stop the line here?
I mean, if you look at how we played him in the first game, we started strong rushing with Jacobs, and we were doing well.
Yeah, he had like 90 yards rushing the first half before he started getting injured or cramped up or whatever.
First quarter and a half or so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like...
And then, we started trying to pass more, and then, the conditions were terrible. No one was catching it. The Lions were making body catches in that game, and it worked. We were trying to play like it was completely dry outside, and they just kept dropping the ball.
I can get the stop here, trying to bring pressure down the line. Full start. You did what I did. You did what I did. You lose. Yeah, I know a lot of people are calling kind of for the upsets when I see it on social media and stuff this week. There's a reason the Lions are still 3.5 point favorites. Like, they're a good squad even with all the injuries. I think as we get the pick there.
Nice.
Thank you. Wish I could have did that on the online game. But yeah, I think
that's a big man to be jumping over your back, buddy.
That's terrified. I think Green Bay's got a good shot. I probably would lean toward the Lions still pulling it out, but I mean, it's just a matter of all the injuries too. Like hitting the square button right there and it didn't do anything. That sucked. But yeah, I don't know. I think Love can have a good day. Like, he seems to be better now that he's healthier, kind of getting more mobility going, being able to open up the playbook a bit more, and then we kind of talked a little bit about last week, but you can see some of the more, run concepts from when Willis was in. Dusty Evely was the one I think that was showing some of that on, some of the articles and stuff. But yeah, I like how Green Bay is working right now. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to win the division yet, and they very well may lose this game. But I think we're at something like a 96% chance, according to NFL.com, of making the playoffs. So ultimately, we're probably going to be the 5th or 6th seed, anyways. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a strong likelihood we would make the playoffs, but you got to take it one week at a time. We need to. Beating Detroit not only helps us with playoffs and with the. Ooh, that looked painful.
Bro, that would hurt so damn much.
Yeah. Beating Detroit would not only help us with the division, with the playoffs, but, it's just another one of those, notches to just show that they're, going in a positive direction. And, again, just like with the 49ers or Miami or whatever, you can go, well, their defense is really banged up. Detroit was able to play, or not Detroit, they are Detroit. Chicago was able to play them close. Well, Chicago played us close too. And Chicago played the Vikings close. Division games are weird. Jordan Love was coming off the groin injury. Weren't sure if he was going to play in the last matchup against the Lions. And, on the scoreboard, it really wasn't that big of a difference. It's not like they, just went into Lambeau and blew the lid off. And we were more hampered than we are now, and they were less hampered than they are now. So, it's going to be kind of weird. How did he just yeet that out of bounds like that?
Carefully.
That was impressive. But like from an offensive standpoint, we were able to show some concepts in the first matchup that could work. We're not going to have the elements this time, so we don't have to worry about that. I don't see why we shouldn't continue to run the ball at that defense, which is pretty banged up in the front seven. Most of their injuries are linebackers and linemen. We should run the ball. And if they sell out to stop it, then that should open up the pass. Fortunately, we're not quite as banged up offensively or defensively. So, hopefully we, don't also leave something to exploit for them. You got to catch that, buddy.
Yeah, that sucked.
And Love was playing great in the Miami game. If he can play on time, clean pocket, take his deep shots when they're there, but, take the underneath routes when they're open, this offense is one of the best in the league. The Jordan Love for the first 10, 11 weeks of the season, he was just making mistakes. I know that some of the interceptions were unlucky, but some of the interceptions were boneheaded.
Yeah, especially the one against the Lions game, that really turned the tables too, because that was the pick six right near halftime, and Green Bay had been in it most of the first half. They were driving to try to either make it a little bit closer or potentially even tie, the game going into half, and instead pick six to Kirby Joseph, and it almost felt like the dagger right at that moment. So I mean, hopefully, again, clean football, and if we're gonna throw a pick six, please don't be the Kirby Joseph. I'm tired of that man at this point.
Tired of him biting kneecaps.
But sir,
how do you think the defense will, or I shouldn't say how do you think the defense will fare? What do you think the defense needs to do to limit the Lions?
I mean, if they can keep up some pressure, like the biggest thing with Golf right now is he's been balling on, some of this stuff too. So it's hard. Like, you got to be good against the run because they got both Gibbs and Montgomery. Hey, he missed. But yeah, I mean, Gibbs and Montgomery are like a big 1-2 back punch. I think if Green Bay can slow down the run game, which they've been pretty solid at this season, that will kind of force it to be on golf. And I don't know, like it's hard because there's no Jair this time again, but we got Evan Williams back. Will look probably a little bit better this time than what we did the first time. But he doesn't really make a whole lot of turnovers. He's gonna keep beating you, with a bunch of accurate passes, and it's annoying as hell. So I guess if you can get the pressure with your kind of your front four, and not have to send a whole lot of extra blitzes and stuff, like that's probably going to be the best way to beat him. So if somebody like Gary can step up and cause havoc, Van Ness has looked pretty solid since, especially the last 2 weeks. Like he kind of had the struggle games at one point, but he ended up kind of rebounding against San Fran a little bit and looked decent against Miami. Between those two and even Clark finally got his first sack against Miami too. I just think if you can get the pressure with the four, you'll beat the Lions. But not a whole lot of teams have done it yet, so I don't know. We'll see. Or if you do that, we'll be good.
True. And it's kind of weird too, because sometimes when you see the metrics, the Lions blocking, their offensive line is like middle of the pack, and then you play them and you get no pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're grading these guys.
Yeah, it's always rough because like the little bit I get to watch the Lions and stuff, it just seems like if you pressure them too much, they have good enough wide receivers, especially with St. Brown and Laporta at tight end, that they're gonna get completions. They're gonna move the ball on you, and they're really good at doing it. When you can, kind of stay back, keep coverage on those guys, but still get the pressure without having to send extra people. Like that seems to be when they have the most struggles with them. So I'm kind of hoping Green Bay can do something with that. I don't know if they will or not, or if they can devise enough of a scheme to maybe still make it work with only sending one extra person or something at a time occasionally. But I think that's going to be ultimately how that game gets decided on the defense.
Yeah, and like you were talking about with the turnovers, Goff has 9 interceptions and no fumbles on the year, but he's only thrown interceptions in 4 games, and 5 of those were against Houston. So you take out literally that one game against Houston, he's only thrown 4 interceptions in 3 games out of,
12 so far.
Out of what, 12, 13 games?
Yeah, 12, and then if you take out the Houston game, then it'd be 11, but...
No, he's only thrown 9 this year. 12 was last season.
Oh, gotcha.
So he's only at 4 interceptions if you take out that Houston game.
Yeah, gotcha.
No fumbles. So, I mean, he's been incredibly clean. Like, you look at his game logs since week 4, and the only game with the turnover is that Houston game.
That's wild. Yeah, I don't know if the defense is really going to get any turnovers or not. Kind of going in this one, I mean, ideally, X is going to take it from you. But...
Yeah, I mean, they started the season pretty strong with a lot of turnovers, and, they've kind of, been a little more dry in that category. We did get, 1 or 2 against Miami and stuff like that. Like, they exist, but it's not been to the same extent as the first 3-4 weeks were. Getting a turnover against the Lions should be huge if the offense will turn it into points. And considering how efficient their offense has been, you can't get a turnover and not score points. That's what Houston did. They got 5 interceptions, but they only had 23 points on the day, and they lost.
Yeah. This almost feels like kind of the setup for a good old-fashioned shootout. Like, I think...
Which it shouldn't be, because both teams should be leaning on the run. I mean, like you said earlier, the Lions have a great 1-2 punch with Gibbs and Montgomery. You know, Gibbs is at 973 rushing yards. Montgomery's at 720.
Yeah, it's kind of insane thinking about it.
You know, everyone talks about, you know, Derrick Henry and Barkley because of all the yards they have, and that's true and great, but their backup does not rush that often. You know, these guys are a legitimate 1-2 punch. You know, Gibbs is averaging 6 yards a carry for the season.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Thinking about that. Yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
I would say probably like you're gonna see a lot of running, but then both teams are gonna probably build off of that with play action or just simple quick passes, and we'll kind of go from there. But I can see I can see a day where like Golf throws for 2 or 3 touchdowns, probably hit Laporta and St. Brown and maybe Patrick over there because he's been kind of
Oh, I
stepping up.
definitely expect them to target Laporta after what Dolphins did to us last week.
Yeah,
Like that tight end position was wide open all game. Now, ultimately, it didn't kill us against Miami, but against Detroit, that's going to be a totally different question.
yeah, because even Kittle on the Sunday game before Thanksgiving, he got like another 80 yards and a touchdown against us, and then Smith turns around and gets what, like 10 catches for, I think it was like $117 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, I wouldn't be shocked if Laporta ends up getting a pretty good day out of us also, but see if we can punch this in and steal this game up real fast. Let's go. But yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay can do it as long as they get like 1, maybe 2 turnovers forced against Detroit, but I'm not confident at all in saying Green Bay's gonna get it. Like I'm going in expecting an L, but for oh, that one I make? Okay. But yeah, I would say Green Bay wins something like 34-30 or something crazy like that. I'm just hoping
I mean, I could see that.
hoping the Lions don't have any offensive linemen that want to throw a touchdown against us.
Of course they do.
That was absolutely wild that they ran that against Chicago.
On the first drive.
Yeah, the disrespect. I loved it though. Can you imagine if he would have actually, thrown a touchdown on that?
That would have been insane.
That would have been probably the greatest moment in the history of big man football ever. Dude, I know like we're talking football and stuff right now. The train that's going by my house right now is absolutely so freaking loud. I have the game audio and stuff on and I can hear it clearly, and it's literally 3/10 of a mile from my house.
Have you tried telling the train to go a different direction?
I did. They're like, nah, it's the same track, so.
Just tell them to replace the train car track wheels with regular wheels and tires, and then we'll just call it a semi convoy. That was a dangerous throw.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, the trains over here have been just forever annoying as hell because I like, I like, the trains and all that. Growing up around trains, but freaking 4 o'clock in the morning train horns are not ideal. Damn it! Oh God. Even though Sun God's a division rival, and they did the whole Green Bay sucks hoodies and stuff, I almost can't hate him because he's like carried me to 2 fantasy titles.
I mean, you could still hate him.
It's not the same type of hate as like we have for Minnesota Vikings and stuff.
I never said that it was the same. Never said it was the same as that.
Fine.
Don't put words in my mouth, boy.
Boy.
That was a weird sack.
Yeah, Gary just carried him to Wyatt, and Wyatt was like, all right, let me finish him. Oh, 2 minutes away from a shutout dub. Oh, man, what if Green Bay just comes in and blows off the doors like they did on Thanksgiving, at least at the first half of Thanksgiving last year?
It'd be great.
Oh, shit. Overran it.
That was such a weird play. Like, he hit the ground and rolled and then stood up like the play was over and got bodied.
Yeah, some of the weird-ass animations can be kind of funny like that. No! Go to review. I don't believe it.
Don't believe you.
Previous play is under review.
He only got 1 foot in. I could see it.
One toe tap.
Yeah. Game's glitched.
And they already ruled it a touchdown, so even if they
Damn.
ruled it inconclusive, it doesn't help you.
Yeah, that sucks. Good play. Hate it. Oh, time for every Packers fan's PST. PTSD, Jesus. It's been a long day at work, leave me alone. Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
Why would you do that?
Ugh. Yeah, I'm like, we're recording this right now on Wednesday night, and I just had like the longest work day, so I'm almost ready to just go to sleep instead of doing this. It's been.
And yet, here you are.
Yep. It's been a long, busy season, but I can finally see the finish line. I know I've mentioned that a couple times in videos, but it's like, I think in 2 weeks it's finally the end, and I'm just like, oh, thank Christ. Been like one of those deals where you sit there and like between phone calls and research and angry people, never any fun, and hearings. Big first down. Big first down. Let's go. And there is your Tiger. But yeah, if this game actually ended up 10-7, I'd be perfectly fine with that, as long as it's a Green Bay dub.
I'd be really confused. Like, how?
Yeah, all the talk about how big the offenses and stuff are, and also know just be like, hey, you know what? Never mind. I wish this was sort of like college football 25. Once you do a kneel down, it just kills the clock pretty much, as long as the other team's out of timeouts. And there we go. Alright, well, we stay undefeated here on the franchise mode. I think that's 13-0 now. Yeah, math is hard, okay. But, any last words over there, Excabandai, for this week?
No, I said my piece.
Alright, well, we will end it there, and hopefully when we get back to the online head-to-head video, it's a celebration of a dub over the Lions. Try to split the season series this year, so until next time, go Pack, go!
Baby, it's you and I